Hello fellow crocheters, welcome to Crazy Cool Crochet. My name is Sylvia, and yes, that's me in those photos, in case you haven't met me yet. So what we are going to talk about today is how to choose the right yarn for the specific granny square project that you are going to make. So as you can see from these photos, there are countless. Well, okay, there's 8 here, so I guess that's not countless, but you know what I mean. There are so many variations, different things that you can do with a granny square. And if you're new to crochet, a crochet newbie, you might not be aware that if you use the wrong yarn, what you are trying to make might not turn out the way you expected. So let's get into this in some level of detail so that you have a better idea when you go to the store what you're looking for, and especially if you have a specific project in mind. So first let's talk about solids. 1 color on each skein, and this is number 4 weight. So yes, the weight of the yarn also makes a huge difference. Okay, so this is number 4, medium weight, and I see a lot of people really get stuck on number 4. That's primarily what they use, and that is so unnecessary. Okay, you can also use, and I will show you examples, number 3 weight. Let's get that out of the way. Okay, so we're still on the solids, and this is a number 3. Which is thinner yarn. And then all of these are acrylic. You also can use cotton. Okay, so there's another solid. This one is cotton yarn. So again, depending on what you are making, if you're doing something summer weight, for example, cotton is really nice for that. It breathes better. It doesn't keep you as warm as acrylic yarn does. So here are some examples of various projects I did using solid colors. The first example is the granny square headband, and this uses the traditional design where each row is a different color, and this is a pillow using 2 different colors. And we're still talking about solids here. And oh, this is a really cool project that I did. This is another granny square using the traditional style. And again, each row is a different color. With this particular project, what you do is you take your favorite books and take the colors from the books, turn that into a granny square. If you want to know more about that, I will leave a link in the description area below, or just head over to the home page of my YouTube channel. And this next project was a granny square cardigan, which is super popular. And with this one, I used 2 different colors for the first 2 rows, and then I used the solid lime green for the remaining rows. Now, while the traditional granny square design has the different color for every row, what that does is result in a whole bunch of tails to weave in at the end. And that is the part that drives people insane. I do have a hack that I use to make it go faster and easier. That link will be in the description area below the video. If I remember, if I don't remember, I am so sorry, but head over to my homepage and you will find the video there. So let me show you some different options to get around that. So what I think is the easier option when making granny squares is to use a yarn with a colorway that has very long color changes. So this way you can make something, and we're talking about a larger wearable, for example, this shrug. So it looks like you changed colors for each color change, that you changed yarns, but you do not with this one. You use the one ball or skein, well, it takes more than one, but with each skein, it contains all those colors. And as you can see, the color changes allow for several rows to be crocheted before it changes colors. That is perfect for this type of project. So here we've got one great big granny square. No tails to weave in. 0. None. Yay! I used a number 3 yarn. I like this one because of the colorway and the way the granny square will work up. Now I'm going to show you an example of what I think is not a good yarn choice for a granny square. And I rarely use this kind of yarn. It's called variegated yarn. It results in this. The square on the left. Yeah, the colors are gorgeous. I like the colors. I got nothing against the colors. It's just the square, the design of the square itself just gets lost. So that the solid color one, you can quite obviously see that's a beautiful granny square right there. I really like that. It's the exact same one with that variegated yarn, but it's not right. So now let me show you examples of multicolor yarn that does work. What's really super important about this yarn that is being used for this poncho is it's very, very specific. It has got to look kind of like this. Okay, so you see how the color changes are very frequent. You don't want to make the mistake of using this kind of a yarn. See how the color changes take a lot longer. So you're going to get a lot of rows of this green, a lot of rows of the blue. So make sure you choose a yarn such as Super Saver Stripes. I will leave a link in the description area below the video where you can get either this exact yarn or something very close to it. Here's another example of a multicolored top using granny squares that I think works very nicely. As you can see in the close-up of the granny square, that this kind of yarn has the various colors all woven in, and I love that effect. And here's the yarn itself so that you can see more or less what it would look like in the store. So watch how the yarn, the different colors are all woven in to the strand. They're not like separate strips of color. That's the difference. So when you go shopping for yarn, make sure you're paying close attention to the wrapper and see what type of yarn it is, not just the number. As you can see, this last example here, that was a number 3, I believe. But take care that you're using the right weight also. A number 2 or a number 3 is much flowier. It gives you a beautiful drape if you're doing wearables. Whereas the number 4 will be stiffer and thicker and much, much warmer. So keep all that in mind. I hope this was helpful on some level. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts and if you were or were not aware of the differences in yarns and types and what you should be using with granny squares specifically. So stay tuned. I hope you stick around and come back often. Go over to that homepage so that you can see what else I've got out there. Thank you so much for joining me today. We'll see you on the next one.